Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a message for you today and oracle cards at the end, as I've been doing. And I have to tell you right off the bat, it's like, for the Divine Masculine, the read was kind of unbelievable, really beautiful. So you'll see on my icon, I'll put up both reads so you can see them more clearly, but my icon's going to be the Divine Masculine read. I'm going to show you the Divine Feminine spread since you haven't seen that, but they're both really amazing actually. So I'm going to let you know what's going on now, okay? It is August 29th, 2018. 29 is the Three of Wands, which is that, you know, in the traditional sense, it's waiting for your ships to come in, you know, looking toward the future. And for me, in our journey, it's really been all about staying present, okay, in the moment. So that's the energy. It's the 29, 11. 11, 22, 33, and 44 are considered power numbers, so you don't reduce them to the single digit. They stay the 11 as opposed to the 2. Okay, so the day adds up to 48, which is the 8 of Cups, which is either walking away, going within, or going back to something. But either way, it's movement away from a lot of old emotions. Okay, so it's really about staying present and going within and really making an effort to connect and meditate. It's so important for you to connect, right, especially during this time right now. And I'm going to I'll show you the picture of the reads first on my iPad, so you have a screenshot of them. See how I can, alright, so this is for the Divine Feminine read, okay, so that you can go back and look at it. And I'll go as close as I can here. Okay. And then I'm also going to show you the Divine Masculine read now because it's just beautiful. Okay. And this is for the Divine Masculine read. Okay. Okay. So first of all, last night I watched a movie called El Camino Christmas, and it was really all about an absent father who sacrifices his life for his son at the end to give him everything he wants, to basically clear the slate for his son so he can go on to have a really happy life. So really nice positive type energy coming in for the Divine Masculine. There may be some sadness, but also a release, and Spirit's connecting with me so that he can go on and have his happy life. I feel like there's something in my glasses now. Okay. Alright. So something else that was very interesting today and yesterday. Yesterday, all of a sudden, I was just working on my computer a little bit and had just laid back to relax, and I started hearing like it sounded like the helicopter overhead, but there was no helicopter there, but this is the sound I was hearing in my right ear, and it was intermittent, so like depending on the position I turned my head, I would hear it and then I wouldn't hear it, and it only lasted for about 30 seconds and then it stopped. But that was really weird, and it was my right ear, so that was very interesting. And then today, I do a spread for myself that I haven't done online, and I might do that for you if you guys want me to. But I've traditionally done for myself a 3D, 4D, 5D spread for the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, like a twin flame spread. And I've been guided to switch today to the 4D, 5D, 6D spread as opposed to 3D, 4D, 5D. And when I did that, all morning, every time I look at my iPhone to get a time, it's not the right time, and then it clicks up to the right time. It's so weird. This has never happened before. So if I look and for example, I knew the time was 12:12, and I look at the clock and it was still at 12:10, and then as soon as I saw 12:10, it clicked to 12:13, which my phone never does with the time. It's always the right time. So it didn't happen once. This happened like 5 times this morning, where I looked at the time, and it either switched to another time after sitting there for a few moments so I could see the time. It would either flip to another time or flip to 2 more times, because it was literally the current time was changing from 1 minute to the next. So I literally have 3 different times come up. So it's really cool, actually. But it's reflecting the change in timelines and us switching from the 3, 4, 5D to the 4, 5, 6D, okay? Because we're in the bridge, okay? We're not in 3D anymore. So I want, you know, if you have something to add as far as that, please comment below. It's really important right now. If anything that comes up during my video triggers you, I mean, it's okay, number one, to be triggered, because it'll bring up something that needs to be cleared. But it just might not resonate with you at this moment, because you might not be on the same timeline as what I'm reading for, which is all okay. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just your journey. I also got in the Divine Feminine read right away, three queens came up with a knight and a pentacle. So I immediately got the clan, okay? So there's that clan mentality. And these 3 queens coming up. So you might be dealing with some other feminine energies today. Okay, so I want to say too, yesterday I went out to ground yesterday morning, and I guess I've told you guys before, my daughter and I had a hamster that died, and we had buried him right outside the front door. And ever since he died, I always have a white moth follow me when I leave the house in the morning. I always did when I was working after that. And the moth is still there, but now there's 2 sometimes. I see them frolicking around sometimes, but still in the morning when I walk out, the moth will be there, but it doesn't usually stay around me. The moth will say hello and then he'll go on his way. But yesterday when I went out to the garden, he was circling around and playing, but right in front of me the whole time. He never flew away from me. And then he literally, I was talking to him, and he landed on a leaf in my garden. And every time I would go a little bit closer to try to see if I could get closer to the moth would leave where he was, but he still didn't leave. He'd just go to a different plant. So he's a little trepidatious, a little bit not sure of me, but still feeling safe around me. So he kept moving from plant to plant as I tried to get closer, but I was still talking to him. So that was a really nice moment. And then this morning when I went out, I immediately saw a dragonfly fly away. So that was cool to see. Just really beautiful natural energies. To make sure you go out and appreciate nature and take a walk or take a hike in the woods. It's so grounding anyway. It's an easy way to ground your energies. But I'm going to remind you now every day, it's so important in this time period right now to ground as much as you can and meditate as much as you can. Okay? Connect with your guides and with your twin, and make sure to clear and protect as well every day. Okay. So the first switch of time this morning happened it was at 10:06, but I looked at the time and it was 9:39, and it stayed there for a minute because it knows that 39 is a specific number for my journey. So 9:39 came up and it stayed there for a moment. I mean, at least 10-15 seconds, and then it switched to 10:06, and then right to 10:07 as I was doing another read. So then the Divine Feminine read, I went to look at the time, and it showed 10:27, and then it flipped to 10:37 and 10:38. So that was cool. And 37 and 38 is the King and Queen of Cups. Okay? And 27 is the Ace of Wands. So that was the entry times for the Divine Feminine. So the major arcana for the Divine Feminine were the Moon, which is Luna in this deck, the Strength card, and the Solar Deity, which is the Sun. So 3. There were 3 cups, 2 pentacles, 2 swords, 1 wand, and the court cards were the Knight of Cups, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and the Page of Wands. So it's interesting that no Queen of Wands came up for the Divine Feminine. The other 3 queens came up. But the Page of Wands and the Knight of Cups. The number 6 came up as the main number, and 66, as well as 9 and 1919, which will come up in my read, being 38. But also what came up is 1 9 plus 1 9 equals also 20. So both numbers came up, the 38 of the Queen of Cups and the 20 of Judgment. The codes for the Divine Feminine were all about spiritual partnership. And it was about seeing the key of Christ's love union within. And it was showing me that, so I told you that I see Pi as the inner union. But it was showing me the comparison of Pi to Nai that came up yesterday, the rogue lion from the Lion King. Because it was showing me there's no Jesus in the rogue lion. So the one who's been, and Spirit's connecting with me, there's no Jesus in the person that's been shunned. Okay, and also Clan came up again this morning, and Spirit's still connecting with me. It's an important message. Okay, so the person who gets shunned loses their connection with God, basically, because their anger takes over and they become disconnected, and Spirit's continuing to connect with me. Okay, so see the key of Christ's love union within. There's no Jesus in the rogue lion or Nai. You get your wish with, and Sagittarius energy was coming up, but it was like the genie in the bottle. It was what I was really seeing, and what I'm seeing now. You get your wish. Okay, so you rub the bottle, you get the genie in the bottle. That's the Sagittarius energy coming out, and it's telling you that this spiritual partnership is God's deity. It's God's clan. So it doesn't matter that you were shunned from another clan, that you're always welcome in God's clan. Okay, it's a very important message this morning. So I was also just writing it out in different ways. To seek the easy love within, which is Pi, no love with Nai, and Nai can also be like no. There's no or Nai, divided we fall. Okay. Also the 9 of Hearts or emotions, which is the 9 of Cups, which is the Get Your Wish card. It's also just complete satisfaction, being on your own. So the 9 of Hearts or emotions comes up. The Wise One's wish is like getting equity in union of the wish of the heart. No, it's like what I was reading onto the next line. The 9 of Hearts are emotions. The Wise One wish is like getting equity in the union of God. And again, I was being shown today, just as yesterday, it's like God's paralleling actors and their life to this journey. Okay? So yesterday was coming up the example of pursuing acting, that actors get used to rejection, because that's their job, to become rejected over and over again. But today, equity and SAG and union was coming up specific to actors. Okay, so it was relating this 9 of Hearts, or this complete satisfaction within yourself, or the Wise One. The wish for you is like getting equity in the union of God. So like an actor, you know, getting complete equity so that they can act anywhere. But this is God's union. Okay. So, oh, I was just getting this too. Seek easy, 69. You can take that the way you want to take it, but 69 is the Ace of Pentacles. It's complete contentment. And I was also getting speak easy as I was going to read see easy. Speak easy was coming up, so New Orleans might be coming up about something. So seek easy 69, and that makes sense that it would come up. I have to tell you this now that they came up. Seek easy 69. When I was in New Orleans, I've been in New Orleans a couple times, but I was there many, many years ago for a meeting. And it was my first time there. And we were walking on Bourbon Street. You know, they have all these little insert bars and stuff like that. And it was really crowded. It might have been Mardi Gras at the time, but it was really, really super crowded. And the street's really narrow, and you're right there. Like, so when the cars pass by you, like you're right on top of the car, literally. And I looked over at the car next to me, and all I saw in the driver's seat was this big puff of fluff in the guy's lap. He was literally, you know, getting some, driving by in the middle of this huge crowd. So I just had to share that with you, because as soon as I saw the speakeasy and the 69, that came right up. So maybe somebody needed to hear that. So the message in this line was, seek easy 69, or the Ace of Pentacles, which is that new life, okay, that new life of perfect contentment. And then as soon as I said that, my white moth flew by my window, so I happened to see him fly by. And his name was Craps, by the way, because that's the first thing he did and the last thing he did in his life, crap, in my hand. He was so cute. He was a runt of the litter, and he never was doing well. We only had him for about 6 months. So seek the easy 69, the Ace of Pentacles, the wish of the heart. And then I was getting SSH, the deity of God. So it's like the age of Aquarius, but SS was coming up as the numbers 1919, because S is 19, and 1938. I was being related to those numbers. And 19 is the sun, and 38 is the Queen of Cups. So the Divine Masculine seeing the Divine Feminine as his sunshine, okay? The Knight of Cups, and this is referencing to the Divine Masculine, I believe, but you can take it whichever way it fits for you. The Knight of Cups emotional tides are ushering in his abilities. After the Wheel of Fortune came in and propelled patience into his life, more patience, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed, so this is why the Divine Feminine is being called to ground more, because the Divine Masculine is feeling her not being grounded. So in need of more grounding. So the Divine Masculine is being patient about that, because he needs you to connect more with him in the etheric realms. The Emperor comes up, and then I was getting some stress from the Emperor. This Emperor makes a bold move openly to speak his truth at a graveyard, expressing his loss by a literal bridge in a desolate area with no tombstones. So it could be a place that the Divine Masculine is going back to talk to someone, but not necessarily a graveyard, but just to go back and release the past. You know, it's kind of like throwing the ashes. And someone may literally be doing that. Talking to God about his emotions and his psychic abilities, expressing his truth through his abilities. There's also a square or a block coming up that actually looked like a vertical block, and the block has to do with the children's thoughts, the Divine Masculine's children. And I was getting the number 2.5, and there's no room for more. And it was like the kids of the Divine Masculine saying, there's already 2.5 of us, like you're, you know, that's the average family, is we already have our 2.5 children, we don't need any more. And it was like all about me, the children saying, there's no more room for anyone else in our life. You know, it's all about me. So this unequal distribution was coming up. So the one child, I'm seeing 2 kids. It doesn't have to be kids. It could be just the energy of those cards. But I was getting people with kids, and it could be more than 2 kids. It could be only 1 kid. But one was coming up with the energy of unequal distribution. So they're feeling everything's not fair. The other child is speaking positively about the world and actually connecting with the Divine Feminine, resonating with the Divine Feminine and bald eagles. Okay, so this is very specific. So let me know how that resonates with you. But I was getting one is dark and one is light. So many people of the Divine Masculine or the Divine Feminine who have 2 kids may be experiencing one of the dark energy and one of the light energy, which doesn't mean either one of them is bad. It's just one's expressing their dark and one's expressing their light. The new passionate beginning, there's a new passionate beginning, giving more, the Divine Feminine giving more than your share to the world, but staying at 0 point wrapped in love. There may be some lack of inspiration and sexual frustration with a new message or news that comes out about division. So there may be a breakup that comes out in just general knowledge or the news, okay? So there's some sadness of a split that create this huge tidal wave of emotions, pulling in the divine masculine's psychic abilities. So they're experiencing this, okay? Whether it's a relationship split or a business split, no matter what it is, could be a family split as well. The emotions that it brings up for the divine masculine is good, because it's doing this huge clearing for the divine masculine to open up their psychic abilities more. Romantic feelings comes up, and this is the divine feminine read perspective, but a lot of the divine masculine information comes up in the divine feminine because of the perspective of the divine feminine in the fifth dimension. So romantic feelings are coming up for the divine feminine. And this is not just for the divine feminine, but I was also getting this for the karmic specifically. And then Barbara Streisand's song came up, Memories. Memories light the corners of my mind. Misty waters color memories of the way we were. Okay, so it's either the karmic looking back at the, because they're broken up now, and they're looking back at why couldn't it be like it used to be, or the divine feminine also looking back and spirit's connecting with me, looking back and hoping it could be like it was once again, you know, the feelings that they had. And then I was guided to write down some more continued lyrics from that song. It was, and I don't know if this is the words exactly, but it was approximately this. It was so much more simple. Was it that it was oh so much more simple then, or has time rewritten every line and spirit's connecting with me? Okay, because we're changing timelines, and the karmic may be feeling this. What happened to the person I used to know? And then as soon as I wrote that down, a green truck flew by my house. You know, it's green, green truck. So it's time flies, okay? And green drop into your heart, okay? And it was at 11:11, by the way. So I was also getting some information, more information about the karmic. All work, sipping coffee, thinking of their love, and the harsh truth of, and different situations were coming up. I was getting a dominatrix situation. I was also getting an arrest situation, and also a rehab facility, or just performing for the audience, for the divine masculine. Okay? Center stage. It's time to kill the narcissist, or for the old man with the white beard and the winter hat. It's time to die. No more player, no more user, no more probe that someone uses to electrocute the truth out of the divine masculine. So obviously this is someone who's very harsh with the divine masculine. It could be a father, it could be a father-in-law or an uncle. It could be someone who just really destroyed the divine masculine, okay? The narcissist, the narcissist that even the swans fly south early away from, okay? So this is a really bad man. And when I see this, I've told you about a past life that I've seen in the Amish country on a farm, and this very, very bad old man. And this is the energy I get from this narcissist, a very, very bad old man, okay? There's a cold stare, no smile, muscles pumped up, and submissiveness, although he doesn't have to have muscles. It's just the idea that he's, you know, he's bad. And then submissives on his lap. So it's like basically two submissives on his lap, always doing exactly what he says. And it doesn't have to be females, okay? They're submissives. So people always having to do what he says. I'm getting the Grim Reaper is coming to get him, okay? And he could care less. So I was getting it could be the karmic's father as well. I was getting for the karmic to speak on their behalf, and spirit's connecting with me, that the karmic is feeling very alone. Even though she may not act this way, she's feeling very alone with her perfect cup and her perfect home. And I also wanted to bring up, in connecting with, I told you my twin flame, sometimes my twin comes through my twin flame friend, okay, because she's a channel. And one time that he did come through, as well as her twin comes through at the same time, they've had, you know, community conversations. My twin's karmic also came through once to say thank you for recognizing that she's been abused as well. Okay, so, and I was getting age 16 or 17, so for those of you karmics who may be listening, this is to support you in your abuse as well, and that you also have a lot of wounds to deal with, and that you're not a bad person. You just are wounded, just like everybody else. Okay? So the divine feminine, on the other hand, has a happy home, is spiritually connected, and the past is returning to establish third energy, but also divided due to the inequity of the love between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, the way things were left. Recently, wherever the divine feminine goes, he will follow. He watches all that she does, but he's in negative self-talk. But he's also still acting as though he's completely satisfied, or there still could be some arrogance there. Wherever he is, or whatever it is, she talks about it, and he follows. Also, some of the divine feminines have taken on partners at work to help them at work. The past emotions empty into a new cup to fill. So if you don't clean up the spilled water from your old emotions, it just leaks into the new. So it's reminding you, this is why it's so important right now it's so important for you right now to clear up all of the wounds that you can, bring up everything you can possibly do to clear it out. Like, don't ignore the stuff that's coming up that's bothering you. Fix it. Okay? Go into it, feel it, allow it, love it, and release it. Allow it to come up to your mind so that it can be released. When it's subconscious, you're not aware of it. When you're able to bring those wounds up to your consciousness, then you can release them and they no longer go forward in your lineage. So also, at the full moon, so the foundation for the divine feminine, and we're just getting past all of the underlying energies. The full moon, emotions, as well as passions, have been held back from the twin, causing instability in the divine masculine's romantic feelings. Okay, because the divine feminine's been holding back because she's been detaching. In the heart of the issue, the emperor is suffering from injustice of a failed love and a need to continue performing in his daily tasks and stay balanced, okay? So he's feeling the injustice of having failed and still needs to go on and support everyone he's supporting financially. Or it could just be in practical other ways. And continue to stay balanced where he's falling apart inside, because he's not connecting to his higher self. So some of them are meditating, but they're not meditating enough. They need to connect more fully with their abilities. So thinking about the King of Cups and unconditional love, the divine masculine, because he's starting out in the King of Swords, but thinking about his unconditional love self, can he be that? With the Queen of Cups transition to union. So it's getting him seeing the King of Cups, unconditional love, with the Queen of Cups transition to union, challenged by his kids, and also coming together with the twin, making a bold move to detach, defenseless to the emotions of this loss of heartbreak and separation, so that could have to do with his kids or his twin, to not be the King and Queen of Cups, but also to detach from children emotionally for union. So it was like he's defenseless to his emotions of heartbreak and separation, and one of those things is the thought of not being the King and Queen of Cups with his twin. But it's also the feeling of detaching from his children emotionally in order to create union. And if you don't have kids, it could be anything that the divine masculine is very close to, or his heart's very attached to. With children, they're seeing that they can't coddle their kids about it, right? Because they can't allow their kids to just say whatever they want about the divine feminine. That's not true, okay? Because they're just feeling insecure. So now in the head of the divine feminine, the Queen of Swords who's in mourning. She's the truth teller, but she's not showing her heart because she's protecting herself. She's about to pull the switch, okay? She's been left behind at the full moon release. So this could be the karmic energy as well. It could be the divine feminine or the karmic energy. but it's her and also kids' jealousy is blocking closure and causing more division. So that could be on the divine feminine side and the karmic side. So for the divine masculine, his partner and the kids may both be blocking him because of jealousy. And on same for the divine feminine side, her kids may be blocking her union because of jealousy, and also karmic partners on the divine feminine side. The kids wanting, and also kids are going to start manipulating, wanting money and things, and refusing to love in order to manipulate the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The divine masculine holds back his harsh words to find peace. You know, so when he's getting mad at his kids, he's been holding back just to keep the peace, which may not be the right thing because he's not speaking his truth. And he's allowing the kids to manipulate him and control, which isn't right. So, so again, the time switched again. I wrote down 11:36 and then it skipped right to 11:38. Okay, so that's interesting because 36 is the 10 of Wands, and then 38 is the Queen of Wands. So it's literally dropping all the burdens to switch from the burdens to the Queen of Wands. The Magician oversees the King and Queen of Cups, now knowing what is right and also the right side, to protect both the divine masculine and the feminine. So now he's not just seeing protecting himself. He knows when he's protecting himself, he's protecting both of us. Protecting us from drinkers or just partiers at the full moon. And as the Empress performs, her left hand is now cut off by separation, desperately wanting to express or write just the right thing. Okay, so the divine feminine, when she's working, you know, she's not paying attention to her feminine. Because when she's working, she's paying attention to her masculine, and that might actually be easier for the divine feminine at this time. But in order to write just the right thing, she needs to allow in the feminine aspect, because you're not really, you're not working at your best and highest capacity unless you're incorporating both the feminine and the masculine. The feminine's got that, you know, creative spark. So soon, the Queen of Pentacles, and this could be actually the karmic now. I'm seeing like this switch of energy. It's like they're switching places where the divine feminine was the Queen of Pentacles and the karmic was the Queen of Wands. It looks like a switch is taking place, because as soon as the divine feminine becomes the sexual partner of the divine masculine, she becomes the Queen of Wands, the creative aspect in the co-creation. So the Queen of Wands, or Queen of Pentacles, I'm seeing as the karmic, seeing her pentacles disappear right before her eyes as she becomes green with envy of the magician's abilities. And it could be the divine feminine still too. So this could be both perspectives of the divine masculine, from the karmic's perspective and the divine feminine's perspective. So as he becomes more into his psychic abilities and using them, one or the other is becoming green with envy of his abilities. So the karmic may be mad because she knows he's going to be successful without her. The divine feminine may be mad because maybe his abilities are stronger than hers, and she's like, what? Okay? So green with envy, or the magician's abilities, even though so this Queen of Pentacles, even though they're separated and blind to, she's green with envy of the magician's abilities, even though separated and blind to justice being served. So even though the divine masculine is blind to justice that's being served, because there may be a karmic who's planning on serving him papers that he doesn't know about. So why is he's even blinded to knowing what's going on, and he just continues to do well for himself. So kind of irritated with that. So the divine feminine is the Queen of Cups, in the Queen of Cups energy, with her epiphanies, lots of epiphanies. Awake but not expressing feelings of love and no longer wanting to be sovereign. Okay, she's already established her sovereignty. And that's the idea of the process. The divine feminine has to become completely into her own before she can come together with the divine masculine. It's not that she has to stay in her sovereignty every moment of the day. The purpose was to get her back in her power, her full power, so that then she can come together and stay in her power. So the cards came up: forgive and learn, express your love, express or self-love first, and then true love also came up. So a lot of beautiful love energy is here. We're still in the Divine Feminine read. Even if the Divine Feminine is awake and enlightened, if you don't express and allow the energy to flow, you lose your power. Around the Divine Feminine, the eye of the tiger, the thrill of the fight, as strength and numbers come together to end pain by ending conflict. Okay, and this could be the Karmic as well. The Karmic wants her dreams now. She wants to create without distraction, so she may actually want to leave the relationship so she can do what she's always dreamed of doing. For the Divine Feminine, you need to clear blocks of exposure, of being completely exposed, keeping anything hidden. New life without addictions, everything exposed, full transparency. Okay, so you can't hide things from your twin. Your twin's going to know if you're lying. The new life of happiness, one with the universe, a peaceful God of co-creation and never-ending expansion. The spiritual partnership. Follow your dreams. This will bring you to your spiritual partnership. It's going within and connecting and following your dreams. Welcome conflict and intimidation, because you no longer have to worry about it. Your boundaries should naturally protect you. It's about not reacting and dealing in a mature, elevated fashion. And when you need to deal with some kind of trigger, you step away from the situation and deal with it on your own. But you're able to do this now. Don't be in fear. Fear is fear, and you don't want to be in fear. Don't be afraid that you won't be able to deal with situations when you go out into the world again. And also is getting welcome the conflict, intimidation, sex, and being chased. Okay? So take 2 spoonfuls and see him in the morning is what the message there. The Page of Wands is now surrounded by frustrating divorce or break of contract, feeling left out of information that he needs to know, burdened with working too hard, working too much, and continuing to continue carrying all these burdens as all of his abilities become online, ready to chase and capture. And possibly remove his mask and shine his light too. Exit stage left, forward. Eye on the prize comes to light, and Spirit's connecting with me. Big, bright, overwhelming light of Egypt and Orion and dreams. And this is for the Divine Masculine. He chooses a path away from weakness and unhappiness around him, and Spirit's connecting, to hold the world in his right hand and choose the left. Needing courage to leave the family behind. Complete end of family cycle. Offer of love at the full moon. So he reaches out to the Queen of Cups after this, and it could just be in the 5D, it doesn't have to be in the 3D. He's reaching out to the Queen of Cups, which he did for me. I got him trying to come through my friend on the day of the full moon. So offer of love at the full moon, he reached out to the Queen of Cups with the eye on the prize of equity, with some suffering and stress due to children, and the Queen of Pentacles exposed as a Queen of Swords type sour woman with a false light, ready to pull the switch. And he with a mask, ready to unmask, inspired to dream. Okay? I was also being reminded, so this is for the Divine Feminine, that I don't know whose quote this is. You can look it up, but it's something I've just heard before, that pain is just fear leaving the body. So just remember that. And the 40, 5D, 60 that we're in now, okay? And that follows along with the download that I got a while ago, that that 1, 2, 3 is part of the 3D, 4, 5, 6 is part of the 4D, and then 7, 8, 9 is part of the 5D. Okay, and then 10, 11, 12 would be 6D. So, after the Divine Feminine, I took a moment to connect, and I started sweating right away, which I told you is when I feel like there's a masculine in my energy. I start sweating immediately. And then I got an Arcturian came and asked me for permission to assist, which I gave. And he said just to follow his lead, and that I will know what to do when I'm guided as, you know, what to do. I also saw Hillary, someone I used to know, but I was guided to bring up Hillary because that means something to someone. And Hillary, if you're watching, and Hillary is my ex's brother's daughter, and there's something specific that I wanted to talk to her about. But if Hillary resonates with somebody else, then please let me know and comment below, okay? And then I was shuffling the cards for the Divine Masculine, telling him to lead the way. I look at my phone, it's 12:07, and it immediately flips to 12:10. So then I put out the Divine Masculine cards, and they were just unbelievable. So the post, the icon for this video is just going to be the main read because you need to see the power of the cards that came out. And I just showed you the full read, so you have all the clarification cards as well. It was just really beautiful. I don't know if I've ever seen the Divine Masculine spread this beautiful. I took a picture of that spread to post for you guys, knowing it was 12:12, and that's when the clock skipped from 12:11 to 12:13, and I knew it was 12:12. So when I looked at the clock and it said 12:11 still, I was like, what? And then it flipped to 12:13, showing me it just skipped over to 12:12, which is kind of cool. So the Divine Masculines read, basically, all the cards were put out from 12:12 when I put down the initial main cards to 12:27 when I finished arranging the underlying energies. The major arcana for the Divine Masculine, and it's 4202, which is the Two of Cups and the High Priestess. So the major arcana for the Divine Masculine is solar deity, which is the sun, the lovers, the Emperor, but it's the guidance card in this deck, higher self, or High Priestess, and then the Tower. So a moderate amount of major arcana. There's one sword, two cups, two pentacles, one wand, which is typical for the Divine Masculine, very equally distributed and very balanced. And the court cards that came up were the King of Swords only and the Page of Pentacles. So it could be the Divine Masculine King of Swords as well as his inner child, or it could be the Divine Masculine hanging out with one of his children. There were no feminine energies in the main cards. Of course, they come up in the clarifiers, but the main read had no feminines in it. It had the Lovers and the Two of Cups, but it didn't have any specific feminines in it, okay? The numbers that came up for the Divine Masculine were 11. There were 2 1s, 2 and 3. That's all the numbers that came up in the read in total. But 2 1s, 2 new beginnings. So I told you before, for the Divine Masculine, we were getting 3 1s, then 2 1s, and 1 1, then we have 2 1s again. And then for the codes, 1 was the main number. Okay? We also got 4, 11, and then the numbers 12, 21. So for my codes for the Divine Masculine, it was kind of interesting in the beginning. I couldn't quite grasp what I was supposed to get from the initial codes. I definitely got the second part of the codes was absolute, and that's acing the lovers, to see the key in the circuit of, I was getting high C and sex. So basically, you're being asked to pump up your vitamin C, okay, or just drink more orange juice, or add that to your diet if you're not getting any vitamin C. I mean, you always get vitamin C from vegetables and stuff, but it was saying specifically high C, so to drink juice with a lot of maybe squeeze fresh oranges, because that's come up already before. So and physical, it's all about physical activities. So it was bringing up high C for vitamin C and also sex, but it was saying it's the bridge, to bridge the connection I got. So you need to get used to the sexual energy in the 5D with your beloved in order to come into union, so that you won't totally freak out when you experience the third energy together. Okay, this is the bridge. See the rainbow. Okay, the bridge to connection I got. So I was also getting Ra was coming up as, I was getting REMA, but then I was finally getting, I got Ra right away, but then I was getting Mary Magdalene in Ra. Okay, so if you see EM, M inside Ra, and M for me is Mary Magdalene. So Mary Magdalene inside Ra. So it's basically just, you know, reiterating the Mary Magdalene Jesus connection and the Sophia Christ connection, okay? To ace the lovers, C key circuit in the high C and sexual energy. Okay, bridge the connection. I also, Remax came up, if that means anything to anyone, as well as the Mafia came up. Mafia? I don't know if that means anything. Also, the name Rima came up. Also, I was getting to redo math or recalculate. And then I was getting shaman energy. I was getting shamanistic energy is equal to 0 point and God. The face of the lovers in seeking, seeing the key, or seek E. Okay, like E towers, the divine feminine's heart. I was getting air conditioning as well as circuit, and air conditioning is literally air conditioning sex, which is air sex. Okay, and to condition you for the real thing. Okay, does that make sense? I was getting to do some recalculations, and then I was specifically getting that math was coming up also about the aftermath, to redo things in the aftermath of whatever's falling apart for the divine masculine. But then I was getting to redo calculations, and EIEIO was coming up, and I was being replaced with EEEEO. Instead of EIEIO, I was getting EEEEO. Okay? And then I was getting literally the song to write down the words. And it was specific to Old MacDonald had a farm, EIEIO, and on that farm he had some chicks, EIEIO, with a chick here and a chick there, here a chick, there a chick, everywhere a chick. So I was getting, and this is not for everyone, there's some divine masculines that have women everywhere. Either multiple women or just surrounded by women in his life. So there's a lot of women he works with, there's a lot of women, he might have daughters, mothers, you know, sisters, like lots of women in his life. So it doesn't have to be his cheating, but some are definitely cheating. That's a fact. So I was getting, and again, when this farm came up, I was getting the bad old man from the Amish farm. So if any one of you connect to this, let me know. It's important. Because also a narcissistic energy came up with in the picture of the Hierophant in the Tarot of Sexual Magic. He's very narcissistic, and he's got 2 women in his lap. And it bothers me because in this life where I saw this very bad old man on the Amish farm, he had there were 2 granddaughters. They weren't his because there was another son who was very bad also, but not as bad as the old man. And there were 2 blonde daughters who were like teenage ages. And there was 2 sons also who were both younger than the 2 girls. But the 2 girls I'm seeing as the, you know, being dominated by this narcissistic energy. So there's definitely abuse there, okay? So it's coming up as very important. So if anyone connects with this, please let me know. Don't expose anything in the comments below that you don't want other people to know. You can certainly email if you want to tell me something, okay? But I was also getting the King of Swords, okay, so the energy for this starts out with the King of Swords, the underlying energy in the main deck, okay? The King of Swords is slow to offer love because he's shy. He may not come off that way, but he is. His heart is shy. He offers something small and practical to the messenger of truth, something related to his mother. It doesn't have to be a thing, but it was surrounding his mother energy because Ma came up. So there's something about a mother. Ma, and Ma may be specific to someone who needs to hear that message as well. The King of Cups with 2 kids are watching a cover-up of a fire sign. So someone's burying the evidence of either a third-party relationship or being satisfied or someone who now has to be satisfied with the love he already has. It's like he's covering up. I'm seeing like people literally like burning the evidence. It could be in business, and it could be a third party in business as well. Someone might be doing some illegal activities at work and then burning the evidence, whether it's burning receipts or burning tax evidence or entry evidence. There's something being covered up. So it's like the Divine Masculine isn't doing this, but he's with his kids watching, like he's being drawn into this because he's there. So he's being shown this cover-up by a fire sign, burying this evidence of either 3 lovers, or the evidence doesn't have to be about 3 lovers, but maybe this person is doing this to block the third party. And the Divine Masculine, now in fear, right? So now he has to be satisfied with what he has, because if he comes out now, he's going to be pulled into this illegal activity, whatever it is. So I was getting the left hand of the Divine Masculine was hanging limp now. So now what he had activated is now kind of gone limp, while the right hand supports all the weight again. So now here he is supporting everyone again. He knows the hermit with the light is inside of him, but in his head he's still in a prison, standing his ground for him and his kids. The Queen of Cups is seen studying and reading in front of others, while integrating her inner masculine and feminine and gaining success and attention, growing roots upwards, so this is for the Divine Feminine, and connecting more fully to the etheric realms, and talking to others to pass on the information. Seeing 2 aspects of the Divine Masculine, the King of Swords and the King of Cups, and I'm also seeing 2 aspects of the Divine Feminine, the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Cups, and you see the parallel here. Both the masculine and the feminine, when they're not in their power, they're in their Queen or King of Swords, and when they come into their power, they're the King and Queen of Cups, because they're coming into their heart space. Mind, heart, mind, heart. So the King and Queen of Cups hide behind their logic for the Divine Masculine and their words for the Divine Feminine. This could be the one, is the card that came up as the underlying energy, the Divine Masculine. The Divine Masculine is visiting the Divine Feminine at night when she sleeps, and taking care of kids he loves very much, depending on the situation. Some Divine Masculines may have a third-party situation, and some are just busy with kids, thinking about their Divine Feminine, seeing each other in the mirror and pouring a drink, thinking of the kiss, that the kiss for the Divine Masculine is the hook. It's all in the kiss. So they may be afraid that what if he kisses her and it's not there. And then I was getting karmic completion. So the Divine Masculine's completely done with his, dealing with karmics. After the injustice of being dumped, so he may have been dumped, or he may have dumped his karmic, or having been dumped in love, dragonflies bring messages with solar lights and flowers that zap bugs. So those devices, he may be noticing like he shouldn't be doing that, so he may be removing things that he had to zap bugs, because he wants to be one with nature, along with other weapons of destruction, leaving swords behind in the aftermath, cleanup, resisting the fall. So it could be resisting a literal fall, but also be resisting the fall because he wants summer to go on, wanting the summer to last. The Emperor Old Man with white beard extending a false hand in the aftermath, and covered it up after being weak from unhappy family, divorcing, or breaking family business contracts with the Divine Masculine. So this Emperor can represent the Divine Masculine, but also can represent this definitely a father, uncle, father-in-law, or boss that's very close and controlling of the Divine Masculine. So it's either Divine Masculine extending a false hand to himself, like his Emperor to his King of Swords, or it's somebody separate doing this, extending a false hand and hiding it, right? So he's doing something wrong or illegal, but covering it up, covering his ass anyway. So again, the Emperor Old Man with a white beard extending a false hand in the aftermath, and then covering it up after being weak from an unhappy family, divorcing, or breaking family business contracts with the Divine Masculine. Okay, so, and the father, there could be a divorce for the parents as well. So it could be his own divorce, or it could be the Divine Masculine's divorce. So Divine Masculine, though, with the light that he's been trying to hide, but it's coming out anyway. So the Divine Masculine no longer contain his light, his inner light. It's coming out to be seen. The King and Queen of Swords are in a prison together, so the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine, while the King and Queen of Cups are sharing their light. Okay, so there's a mixed bag here for both the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine. In the foundation for the read for the Divine Masculine, there's a coming together with his feminine and the world, with his eye on the prize, an offer of love from God that he had ignored in order to hold on to 3 lesser loves or emotional ties. The heart of the issue is complete exposure of passion and wanting to ride in to spar with his Divine Feminine. Okay? So, you know, the sun is in the middle of the read. Complete exposure, so that nothing's secret anymore. Everything's out in the open. He wants this now because he wants to ride in passionately to spar with his Divine Feminine. And I literally got sparring. Okay? The Empress reversed is out of control, ruling a big family who has a passionate new start coming but needs inspiration due to frustration blocking him. Also, there may be kids having temper tantrums and sexual frustration for the Divine Masculine, as well as sexual frustration for the Divine Feminine. The challenge for the Divine Masculine is the lovers, as he uses his magic defenseless to his lover and no longer caring what others think or say. He feels sadness and regret for releasing his true love, now meditating to propel the wheel forward. Now, in his head, is his higher self. So now he's connecting more fully between his head and his heart. So his higher self is in his now moment, using and connecting to his left hand or his Queen of Pentacles. While impatient due to the Queen of Wands blocking his right hand and arm, so we're still seeing in this read the Queen of Wands as the karmic energy still blocking his right hand and arm, his complete arm, in separation aftermath. So she's still trying to block things from happening. He is in his 5D fantasy, giving up his goods so the Queen of Pentacles can steal back her energy from the Emperor, who suddenly sees this prized connection, surprised by her sexuality. So it's like the Divine Masculine wants to offer the energy that he stole from the Divine Feminine back to her. So it's like he wants to give that energy back to her. So it's like he's offering up his penis to give that sexual energy back. It's just representative. But he could literally be offering. So soon, the Divine Masculine works on his abilities, moving boldly to clear emotions and detach himself. He is the diamond in the rough. He is seeing himself this way. After being judged by the Queen of Wands karmic energy, who turned away from him, an independent Divine Feminine third party comes into the picture. The cards that came up were worth waiting for, and that was right on the Divine Feminine coming into the picture, worth waiting for. Also for the in the karmic energy is religious factors and give the relationship a chance, and then worth waiting for. Okay, so around him is the Tower energy, the lightning residual, but most of the fires and the thunder are gone. Details at work are escaping him as the King of Wands, man of passion, holding back his passion from his twin. So now he can't focus at work, okay? The details are escaping him. He needs to clear blocks of new passion, like this is a block for him, because everything he's shunned the Divine Feminine from his life. So this is a big block for him now, wanting this new passion. And it could be because he was either one extreme. Divine Masculines are usually one extreme or the other. They're either very, very overly good and wanting to commit to something that no longer serves them, or overly free with their sexuality and having multiple partners, which isn't serving themselves either. So he needs to clear these blocks of new passion, negative self-talk, and his own arrogance. Okay. Physical activity came up as the main card. He needs to be physical. Passionate feelings expressed in full exposure. Soulmate twins amidst surprise seduction, in rebirth after divorcing or justice with the devil, tripping up and letting go of the facade, and facing the music in another world with his twin flame destiny. And Spirit's connecting with me. A bit uncomfortable, letting go and trying to fix things and coming together to co-create their destiny, but recovering financially to come out of isolation, and Spirit still connecting to end conflict with full exposure, without addictions, without codependencies, and an offer to start a brand new life. The King of Swords comes together for a new life suddenly, as the Emperor exposes lovers with psychic abilities and passionate flame through higher self and deep connection of destiny and mission. So how beautiful is that? So let me know if you have any questions, and please comment below. It was amazing reads for both. And I'm going to pull you your oracle cards. Let me find where I put them. Okay. So this is for the Ascension deck. Okay. All right, for the Ascension deck. Take a deep breath. Remember to breathe very deeply. We forget to do this all the time. And I've noticed how hard it is first thing in the morning to take that deep breath, which is why I appreciate jogging so much, because it naturally opens your lungs up for you. But just remember, after taking a few deep breaths, they're no longer uncomfortable, and you really need to make this connection with yourself every day. So for the organic divine masculine and divine feminine twin flames, what is the advice today from the Ascension deck? What is the advice? And the cards have been much more flowing, actually. Lord Kazumi and animals. When I'm doing my reads now, whereas the cards used to stick constantly, in the past 2 days at least, they've been really free-flowing, not sticking at all, or very little anyway. Animals is at the bottom of the deck. So again, showing your appreciation to animals. Number 2 is the High Priestess, the feminine energy, that you honor and respect all animals, which was nice that came up for the divine masculine, that his feminine's coming out in respect to creatures, okay, to bugs that he may be zapping, or just animals that may be harmed by the things that he's traditionally used, okay. The card that came out is Lord Kazumi, which is number 36, which came up already in regards to the Ten of Wands. Okay, and Ten of Wands is that great burden, that hard work where the divine masculine can't take it anymore, he's going to drop it. He's going to have to confess or just drop all his burdens. And/or. So 36 is a 9 of universal selflessness, compassion, endings, okay? And often 9s have been associated with great burden because that person would take on more of the responsibility. It's 369, okay? It's the 6 of the motherly energy, and then the outer energy of joy and happiness, smiling, sharing. Okay, expressing yourself just the way you want, but with that nurturing intent inside, which comes out as universal selflessness and compassion and endings. So Lord Kazumi is the world teacher. In his incarnation as Saint Francis, Shah Jahan, who built the Taj Mahal, and Melchior, one of the wise men, Lord Kazumi practiced harmlessness, love, and wisdom. These energies are encapsulated in this card, so you're encouraged to spread knowledge and spiritual truth to others with humility and inspiration. Be ready to learn, for Lord Kazumi is drawing your attention to something important. He is a member of the Brotherhood of the Golden Robe, and Spirit's connecting with me. So I was just being reminded to tell you, and Spirit's still connecting with me. Bringing up the Golden Robe to protect yourself in the golden light. It's like the Golden Robe, okay? So if you just use your intention to like put a robe on with a hood that's made up of the Christ golden light, you can use that as your shield. So those who take in and transmute the pain of the world. If you're sensitive to energies, ask him to wrap you in his light. The affirmation is, I am open to learning and teaching. And so always keep yourself humble so that you're open to learning and not always saying, you know, I know. Don't be insulted that someone's telling you something you already know. They may be telling you something as well that you don't know. Okay. So never be afraid to ask questions. It's very important because most people are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to look stupid. But it's the wise person, the strong person, that doesn't care what other people think because they want to know. And that just reminded me of when I have a fashion design certification. And that's interesting too because it wasn't easy for me to do this because I was working full-time, single mom of 2. And I went back to get my fashion design certification because it was something I loved to do. And I knew God was pushing me to do that, so I'm like, you know, I guess I'm going to finally push myself to do this. So I did. So it took me, you know, like 2-3 years to do it. Just taking one class at a time because that's all I could handle, 1 or 2 classes. Yeah, I guess I took 2 classes at some time. But as soon as the very moment I finished my design certification was when my parents became ill and had to come home. That was 2012. That was August 31st was when we brought my mom home because of her Alzheimer's. And my dad, who was already wheelchair bound, but his mental faculties were fine. So because of that, I had planned to create my line that I had designed in class. And right after that, I never had time to do that because we then ended up having to spend time bringing them home, getting them situated, and then we had to move them again and visit them every week. So it was a lot. And then that was 2012, and then 2013 was my back injury. So things just kept pushing me away from that because, you know, once you injure your back, you can't lean over and do sewing type things. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. So that was right, and I wanted to bring that up too because that was 2012, right at the time of the shift where we started the new timelines, you know, no more linear time, basically. Okay, so, oh, and I didn't even tell you what I want to tell you. The biblical came up again, but I'm kind of half talking, so I'm going to shuffle again. Biblical and vows, and that came up yesterday. In one of my classes, and I was a lot older than a lot of the kids in the class. It was night school, but a lot of them are still young people. And I have trouble keeping up because, number one, I was just older than them, but also with my eyes, I didn't have bifocals, and even if I did, it was constantly transferring from looking at the computer to looking up at a big screen. So it's a different need, and I couldn't keep up with that because of the vision issues. And also because the young kids, you know, they're all better with the computers and quicker because, you know, it just comes as second nature to them. But it was the first time that I was really into what I was doing school-wise. And if she was going too fast, I would just yell, you know, open up my mouth and tell her to slow down because I need to know. I just kept asking the questions, and she got irritated with me, which I didn't care. I'm paying for this class and I'm going to learn. So who cares what anyone else thinks? So I just wanted to bring that up. Don't be afraid to ask questions. So for the organic divine masculine, divine feminine, and by the way, I had a 4.0 in my fashion design certification. Okay. So for the divine feminine, divine masculines, what is the advice? What is the advice? What is the advice? Organic divine masculine, divine feminine. What is the advice? What is the advice? It's getting a little sticky. Actually, 3 cards wanted to come out. Lessons and blessings is at the bottom of the deck. Okay. There's a stopwatch. Time stands still. And that's perfect because my clock kept sticking. Perfect. Okay, so it's the stopwatch. And stop ticking. Oh, this is so relevant. When I was still going to see my twin on a regular basis early on, probably a year into it, that kind of thing, when I was driving there, my watch that I liked to wear all the time, and I'd been wearing it for years, it stopped at the time. It was too perfect because it was at between 11:44 and 11:45, and I was born at 11:45. Quarter of midnight. This was during the day, but still. I was born quarter of midnight on my birth certificate, but I always use 11:44 because my soul number is 3811 and my life lesson number is 44:8. So I always use my birth time as 11:44. So my watch stopped at 11:44 and 19 seconds, and so 19 relates to my divine masculine. So my watch stopped then, and then my clock. I have a sculpture that has a swinging clock on it, like a pendulum. And that clock stopped at, and it's still stopped. I haven't changed the time on either one of them. This one stopped at 9:52. And 52 is also regarding my divine masculine. So This is very relevant with the stopwatch and the change of time. The 2012 was the end of our linear time, and now we are changing again. We are completely, for those of you who resonate with what I'm telling you, we're completely out of the 3D. We are in the 4D bridge, and as a twin, I mean, your capabilities have never been 5D or lower. They've always been higher than that if you're a twin. But to maintain that level of consciousness in your daily life on a regular basis, that's what you're elevating to. So you're elevating to a 4D consciousness with capabilities much higher than that. Okay? So the cards that came out were first the health card. Okay? Okay, so you have the snake there too. Oh, that's what it... I was trying to think of what it was reminding me of. The snake is wrapped around a straight stone, but I was getting... oh, and that relates perfectly too. The dragonfly. It looks like a carrot as well. So carrots may be coming up. Maybe someone's getting a diamond ring. But this snake wraps around, you know, not only represents the Kundalini energy coming up the spine, but it's also the dragonfly. Okay, so when the dragonfly mates, you know, you have the body of the dragonfly. It looks like a carrot basically, and you don't see their wings when they're flapping so quickly, so they disappear in a way. So when they're mating, the masculine grabs the feminine by the head, and they become one stick like this flying, and that's all you see is a stick flying. It's really cool. That's what I saw for the first time when I was in the south of France on that Mary Magdalene retreat. And so I'm being reminded of the dragonfly since I saw a dragonfly first thing this morning. And the snake is wrapping itself around the top like the dragonfly does around his mate. He wraps his tail around the neck of his mate. And that's how they mate. Then they fold over into a heart shape, and then they start pumping in and out like a heart. It's really cool. If you haven't seen it, look it up. The galactic card came up. Okay, so make sure you're connecting. And I was just connecting as, you know, my seeing stars last night. What else was I seeing? I was just reminded of something I've forgotten about. Oh, as soon as I went into my meditation last night, an elephant came in that I was very affectionate toward. So I was getting it representing the divine masculine, whether it's mine or others. An elephant came up, and I was supposed to relay that message today. There's something else about the stars too. I remember being, you know, being in the portal and going through the stars, but also maybe raindrops came in, or ooh, and Mary Poppins came up again too. And maybe that was, I have to look at my sand art for you too, because that was pretty significant. Raindrops keep falling on my head. That just came up. My feet are too big for his bed. Nothing seems to fit. I'm trying to think of the words. So it's the divine masculine. Spirit's connecting with me. So look up the words for raindrops keep falling on my head, okay? That's the divine masculine's perspective. Then Asia comes up as well. And again, this is being sovereign in your truth, being confident, and your confidence protects your galactic connection, your high heart, and your solar plexus, okay? That's your confidence, your yellow, your sunshine, and your left shoulder. But you don't have to be stern like this, okay? Because that's representing religion. Religion is stern, and twins are not. Twins are joyful and happy and expansive. So very important. We have Kundalini energy, galactic connection, and your self-confidence, and bridging these. Okay, this is all part of the 4D bridge, is what I'm being told. Okay, this is all part of the 4D bridge, the murkiness that we're going through. Raise your Kundalini, become one within your divine masculine and feminine, connect more with your meditation to the galactic realms, and stay sovereign in your confidence and your power. And there could be something coming up with the Orient as well. Tibet and Japan both came up this week. I can't think of the name of the mountain, the famous spiritual mountain in Tibet, as well as the volcano in Japan. And also to see the confidence of the Asian, you know, the discipline of their workforce, but see that in their spirituality, not in the way they work, because that's not what we're looking for. That's a template where they're controlled by the man, basically. But their religious discipline, not religious, but their spiritual disciplines, what you can learn from the Oriental past religions and spiritualities, okay? And light just flickered just now. I don't know where that came from. Okay, and then the journey of love. Sorry, it's a little longer than I thought it was going to be, and I still want to show you my sand art, so if you want to hang in there, I'll give you the messages from my sand art too. Okay, this is Journey of Love for the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine. Organics, take a deep breath. What is the advice for the organic, divine, masculine, divine, feminine? And we have Shakti. Actually, 2 cards want to come out. Heaven. Rings of Time, 44 is at the bottom. Okay. Rings of Time, 44. 44 is Atlas. Okay. It's also the number of the social worker, and it is exactly what it seems to be. The 4 and the 4. Very important. Very solid. It's also like 2, I always see this for when 2 hangmans come up together. It's the divine masculine, divine feminine, both in their wisdom. 44. And the 2 cards that came up are Shakti okay, and that's number 19, which came up already, 1919. And then Heaven, which is very different. And that's number 70. That's the end of the deck. Okay, so Shakti is very reds, oranges, and yellows, and Heaven is very blues and indigos, and even blacks in there, with a little bit of green in it. Okay, I'm going to read you both. Shakti and Heaven. And my clairvoyance, I have clairvoyance, but it's not my strongest ability. My strongest abilities are my clairsentience and my claircognizance, which is my instant knowing. For my clairvoyance, I haven't seen all the masters and angels and things like that, but I have seen Shakti and Shiva. And actually I met them in Hawaii, when I was in Hawaii with Elizabeth. And it was amazing, the energy in Hawaii, because as soon as I got there, the first meditation we did, everything I saw was rainbows, including all the stars, you know, when you're in space, going through the portal. All the stars were rainbow stars. They weren't just white anymore. It was really cool. But that's when I connected with Shakti and Shiva. Okay, not 31, it's 19. Okay, Shakti. Shakti is divine feminine fire. She is the body awakened with light. She is the divine feminine, and she is the Kundalini, the energetic force that moves through us. Okay, so this is automatically relating to that, to the health card, okay? We're talking about Kundalini as part of your health. She is the divine feminine, she is the Kundalini, the energetic force that moves through us, triggered by love that leads to enlightenment of our body. With our Kundalini coming alive within us, we cannot remain as we once were. It's impossible. We may try to lead the same lives, be the same in our relationship patterns, and perhaps even behave properly, but it simply cannot be done. Soon our disguise slips and people wonder, what happened to her or what's gotten into him? We are on fire with the divine and we cannot help but misbehave. We are no longer satisfied with trying to be the good child or fearing we are the bad child. We know ourselves instead to be the divine child. The child divine lives fully and with passionate fire, not doing things the way they're supposed to be done perhaps, but living instead from the heart. Our body may ache as we burn through old pain, and sometimes the light within may seem so bright it blinds us for the moment. But that will pass and the misbehaving will suddenly be seen for what it is. The old rules just don't fit anymore. You don't plug a globe capable of illuminating the whole world into the bedside reading lamp without burning down the house. Best to let that light shine as it was meant to, in the big arena. Shakti is making your light grow, beloved. Be prepared to shine brighter. We're playing big, not small. This oracle brings you a message. You're going through energetic shifts in your subtle anatomy. Because your energy body and physical body have already begun to merge with each other, the energetic shifts will affect your physical body too. It is always wise to consult a healthcare practitioner, but at least some of your physical challenges at the moment, from aches and pains to tiredness, are due to this energetic awakening. Take responsible action as you feel necessary, such as tending to your physical well-being with healthcare that feels supportive, but also remember to rest, get some time in nature, and nurture your body as it's spiritually awakening into greater light. And the poem reads, I have watched you hurting and felt helpless to make life better for you. Loving you is having to make choices to let you be who you are, who you become, and all the who's yet to come. To love you is to ride the waves of your passionate embrace of life, ever mindful of the change in the wind and the occasional tempest brewing. Loving you is having to make choices, knowing it isn't my fault. I can still choose to take it personally, or just be, while I listen and watch you unfold. Your heart is a beauty I will always love. It's the part of you that hasn't changed much over time. And when I lie beside you and hear you breathe, and Spirit's connecting, when I touch your skin or caress your hair, you are timeless, and I choose loving you. Okay? So that's Shakti. Allow your feminine out. And then 70 is heaven. You are meant to live heaven. Now, not later. Sometime after you die. What use is this life and body if not to live heaven now? Look for the mad divine genius in all that is, especially the puzzling parts of your life that make you scratch your head, or tear at your hair, or scrunch up your face and scream with frustration. Those are the places in which the divine is saying, here, heaven is hiding, let's unveil it together. Let me show you, let me unveil your own mad divine genius right here. Look for heaven even in hiding. It will not withhold itself from you for long. Beloved, it wants to be known by you. This oracle brings you a special message. The enlightener is calling you to more. More divinity, more love, more acceptance, more embrace of life itself. There's no limit in what's being offered to you from the divine lover calling to you, the beloved. Rejoice and know that the dance of the love between you and the divine is a removing of the veils of illusion one at a time, until you behold each other, naked and true, finally to discover you are each other. You are love. And the sky. The sky is the first two words of the poem. The poem states, the sky ablaze with morning light, on silver wings of bird in flight, in gratitude a tear released, a knowingness embraced at peace. She speaks to those that gaze below, ancestral wings which call my soul, to open hearts and soar above. In awe the wings await this love. Okay. And this is a picture that's in this. So I wanted to show you the picture. Okay. Alright, and I had to tell you what I got from my sand art real quick if I can. So it was just 1/24/24. Let's see what we got here. If I can remember. It wasn't too long. Okay. Alright. Also, first it's like I see images of this the spine from the mid back down collapsing, bridging. I also was seeing someone's arm maybe in a sling, but I'm also seeing like the two arms coming together in a handshake, but one arm is being supported and the other one's not. And it also could just be bridging the gap between the divine masculine and divine feminine, but there's support there. Support for one and not for the other. The other one may not need support. I'm also seeing a chicken and baby chicks, and chicks came up. So it's like a chicken laying eggs. You can't see the eggs, but it looks like she's laying eggs. Also was kind of seeing a seal. A big fat seal. Also, people reaching out to each other, being affectionate. I was also getting like the Three of Cups energy of three coming together. And the Aladdin's lamp comes up here too. Also, I was getting like a lantern, you know, the old-fashioned lantern with the candle in it. And a gavel. I just saw that. I didn't see that before. Gavel's slamming down. It was sitting in the sitting in its holder, but it's waiting to be used. I was also seeing like I was getting the Three of Cups, but I'm also getting like a coven as well. So people like hovering around eggs, and I see the chicken laying eggs, and I'm seeing 4 eggs. Let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2. Most of the pictures are 4 eggs. So there's 3 people like hovering around these 4 eggs like in a nest. And then I'm seeing like an assembly line of people working. But the eggs are still there in the nest, but it changes form. Instead of being a circle, now it's like in a line of people working right next to each other, like an assembly line, to get this done. And it has to do with something in court. There's also a lot of turmoil. I was also getting the bottom of the ocean floor. Not sure where, but it's a lot of stuff coming up. I was getting, and this could be at the ocean bottom, but it also can be in space. I'm seeing people like in spacesuits. So whether they're working on the surface of the moon or somewhere else, I'm seeing work being done, but also the bottom of the ocean. I'm seeing drilling at the bottom of the ocean. Drilling. So some of the eruptions from the bottom of the ocean may be caused from drilling purposefully, as opposed to something that's just happening. Yeah, I'm seeing drilling, definitely. There's also definitely lights and, you know, people working at the bottom of the ocean. I'm seeing like a huge complex set up to give light to this project, whether it's at the bottom of an ocean or out in space. It could be on another planet, it could be on the moon, wherever it may be. There's something going on. I don't know. I don't watch the news, so if someone's launched up into space recently that I don't know about, it may be relating to that as well. I'm getting people coming together to do this project. There's like a meeting of the minds. It's like it's like a 2-headed monster. Like it's a big, huge being with 2 heads. So they're coming together there. As well as reaching outside the box to connect with another. So that's good for the twins. Okay, so definitely drones are out, but I'm seeing multiple people coming together. It's not just 2. It could be just 3, but it could be more as well. But I'm seeing spotlights and drones, and the more they're there, the more activity is happening at the bottom of the ocean or whatever the surface is, whether it's a planet or the bottom of the ocean. And it keeps more and more and more. And then I'm seeing like an ET or angelic presence there. And it's a bridge. It's showing them as a bridge. The combination of them all working together is the bridge. And it's being conducted by like an angel or an ET. And then I see hearts everywhere. It's like, what is the flower I'm thinking of? I don't know, it's lilies or tulips. But I'm seeing them sprout up everywhere. And blue. Something else I want to say, but I can't think of what it is. If it comes, it comes. But again, it's much about bridges and rainbows and work being done on the bottom of the ocean. Lots of eruption going on. I don't see one big one. I see a lot of turmoil, eruption. But watch out for the snake's tongue. Oh, also I see, again, there's the dinosaur bird coming in. It could also represent the bald eagle since that came up recently. But I'm definitely getting, is it pterodactyl? I can't remember. It's the dinosaur bird. It's flying, swooping in right down by the land. But I also see someone, I see a hand coming out. It's like the hand sneaking out of the box. And this container is the same container that contained the gavel, and it's the same container that allowed someone to reach outside the box. It's now a hand, but it looks like someone, like, you know, when you sneak, when you're at the movies and you sneak your popcorn from the person sitting next to you because you ran out. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting dragon energy as well. I'm getting this dinosaur bird with lights under his wings. And it could be related to Batman and Robin as well, too, because that came up this week. So, the wind beneath their wings, okay? It's coming up. Batman and Robin are gaining momentum. That's amazing. That's for the twins. Dipping into something new. Taking something out of the bag. Okay, so something, bringing something to light, that kind of thing. And a tidal wave may be coming too. There literally may be an ocean tidal wave that comes in somewhere. I'm seeing a tidal wave. It's banging up against mountains though. I'm not necessarily seeing it against a small beach. I'm seeing it banging up against mountains, but I'm definitely seeing tidal waves. I'm not seeing it like a volcanic eruption. I'm seeing it as a tidal wave. Also seeing stingrays. And some other birds. There may be an injured bird. Someone may be taking care of an injured bird they found, which they want to say thank you. I'm getting, oh, that's weird. Ah, something's found again too. I don't know where this is. I'm seeing a lot of water around it. Something's being found again on Earth, either at the bottom of the ocean or another planet, or it could just be dug up somewhere. It could be a body, it could be a spaceship I was getting, a spaceship, or it could be a plane, like an old-fashioned plane that was never found before. Like I'm getting the cockpit, but it's being found. Or someone may have crashed actually in the mountains, or it's remnants from a prior crash being found. I don't know if it has to do with the plane crash that I know about. Someone and his child died in the mountains over Tennessee, and that relates to me, my father. So I don't know if the plane was ever recovered from that. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's something else though. But that's what I'm getting. There's definitely something found that was buried. things are, I'm seeing like things are making their way to the surface, you know, just like something that's under your skin, like if you get a splinter and it makes its way out, that's what I'm seeing. There's things making their way out to the surface to be exposed, okay, which is a big deal because the sun has been coming up all week in the cards, actually for the past few weeks. Complete exposure, okay? So I guess that's enough. Make sure to drink your water, be healthy, get outside and meditate. Meditate, 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 ground, ground, ground. Rise and be loved, guys. Bye.